Hello, and welcome back to yet another video. This is the 7th episode of a story in which 10-year-old Naruto meets Minato from future and that turns Naruto's life upside down. As Naruto lives a happy life in which he is trained by Minato and later Kushina too. After you've finished watching, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. To begin, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get the party started. Everyone found it delicious, minus Kushina, who couldn't taste it. I hope that they will visit them again as soon as I come back, thought. Whoa. This is delicious, it can compete with Ichiraku's ramen. Who made it? Asked Naruto. It was done by Hinata-chan. She came to help the cooks because she found out that they were a bit overwhelmed. She is really nice, said Hanabi, proud of her sister. Hinata blushed a little, she still was not used to Naruto's praises. You made it, really? You would be a wonderful wife, said Naruto. Hinata looked like a tomato. Hiyashi chuckled a little while the other Hyugas looked among themselves in a suspicious way. Neji chuckled and Hanabi realized that her sister liked the blonde boy. The little girl then looked at Naruto and Arashi with more attention. She found out that their blue eyes were very beautiful, more than the white ones that all her family had. She also was intrigued by their blonde hair, that resembled her the sun. The boy was also very friendly but a bit loud. Those marks on his face were cute, and she also reminded when the elders commented the performance he made in the parents' visit day, so she was not strange with her sister liking Naruto. What's going, little one? Is there something bothering you? Asked Arashi when he noticed that Hanabi was looking at him and Naruto. Hanabi was a bit embarrassed for being caught, but she was really sharp for her age and found a quick excuse. Excuse me, Uzumaki-san. I was wondering what happened to your hand, said, pointing to the bandages on Arashi's left hand. Hiyashi reminded that morning's incident in the council's chamber, when Arashi let one of the cursed counselors stab him in the hand and then he killed said counselor with the Rasengan. I had a little problem with a fool that now is sleeping in a wooden box. He made me a hole in the hand, said Arashi. You have a hole in the hand? Can you show it? Asked Hanabi curiously. Arashi nodded and removed the bandages. To her disappointment, there was no hole, only two small scars on each side of the hand. Hiyashi and the other elders knew that in a few hours those scars would disappear completely, leaving no signs of the wound. I'm sorry, but my healing powers close the hole. However, I think that this is better. It was not a sight suitable for a child like you, said Arashi, smiling under his mask. Can you stop boasting about your powers? We are going to make a final decision about the plan after you leave, and that exhibition won't help me to stop it, thought Hiyashi. By the way, continued Arashi, I noticed that you don't have a certain seal on your forehead. That means that you are from the main branch? You mean a seal like Neji-Nisan's? Asked the little girl. The counselor stopped eating. Arashi touched a very sensitive matter. Yes, she is from the main branch, spoke Lady Miho. Since the cloud incident, it was decided that those born in the main branch would keep like there. Now siblings won't be separated from each other by the branch they belong to, said proudly. Hinata disliked the tradition of the seals. She felt happy knowing that her sister wouldn't be bearing that cursed thing. Neji thought that they should have made that decision generations ago. That decision wouldn't do anything for those born in the branch. Minato thought about the woman's words. The first impression was that the decision was good for all the clan, but a deeper analysis would reveal otherwise. In a few generations the main and branch members wouldn't have any direct relatives in the other part. They would be two different families, without ties. Without those family ties, the main family wouldn't have restraints to not use the seal in a member of the branch family. The rift between the families would be unbridgeable. When I become Hokage, I'll do all in my hand to ban that sort of practice. To make somebody bear a seal against his will is not good. Something like that shouldn't happen in Konoha, said Naruto seriously. And I will help you, thought Hinata. Minato felt a pain in his chest when he heard Naruto's words. He made his son bear a seal, worse that the Hyugas and bear it alone while the branch family members at least had each other. He also felt very proud of him. Min-kun. He is not talking about his seal, he feels very proud that you chose him to protect the village, said Kushina. I know, but I can't help but feel guilty about it, responded Minato. Are you talking by your own experience, kid? Thought Lady Miho, repressing herself to reply that phrase to the boy. Well, I won't be in the branch, but it doesn't mean that I won't protect Ne-chan from those who would try to hurt her, said Hanabi vehemently. Kawi. She looks really cute, thought Kushina, extending her arms to Hanabi in the mindset she shared with Minato. To his own surprise, Arashi pinched Hanabi's cheeks while he giggled and smiled under his mask. What? It looks like you can take control over my body, thought Minato. He. I didn't know that I could do that. We should investigate about it when we come back home, but let me take advantage of it a little more, said Kushina with a mischievous smile. Kushina pinched Hanabi's cheeks with her husband's hands a little more. When she released her, they were a bit red. The other Hyugas, minus Hinata, were a bit surprised to see that somebody so cruel with those who wronged him could be also so tender with little children, although Hanabi's cheeks wouldn't agree with them. By the way, we forgot to check the present from our guesses. I wonder what they brought to us, intervened one of the eldest Hyugas. Hiyashi opened the package Arashi gave him at the beginning of the dinner. Inside there was big tag with very elaborated writings. Hiyashi found it familiar, but he couldn't figure out why. What it is. At first it looks like a work of calligraphy, but I can't understand what it says, commented Lady Miho. It is not a piece of art for exhibition, it is an offshoot of health, said Arashi in a casual tone. What? Byakugan, said Hiyashi, focusing his blood limit in the writings. Other Hyugas followed his example. Hiyashi looked at the chakra patterns of the seals and finally found out why Arashi's presence was so familiar. Other elders also recognized them. As Arashi said, it was an offshoot of health. The offshoots of health were considered one of the pinnacles in the art of sealing. They were created by the Yondaime Hokage with Tsunade's help. These offshoots generated an invisible aura that prevented the transmission of diseases in a 100-meter radius. That aura also slowed the progress of the diseases in an already ill person, making the recovery easier. Officially there were only 4 tags like that in all the world. One was in the center of Konoha's hospital, other was in the hospital of Fire Country's capital, the third one was in the residence of the Fire Lord and the fourth one was in the Hokage's residence. One of the reasons why the Hokage is so healthy for his age, Tsunade conceived the idea of these tags but she lacked the skill in sealing to make them real until the Sun Daime assigned Minato Namikaze to help her. The first tag proved to be a success and the Hokage gave Tsunade permission to leave Konoha. Now with the designs, Minato created the other tags without help. He would have created more, but his early death left Konoha without the only person with the sealing skill and chakra capacity needed to create these wonders. Thank you very much, we feel very honored with this gift. We didn't know that the Yondaime made more tags and that they were kept in secret, said Hiyashi bowing. Other Hyugas followed his example. The Yondaime didn't created the tag, I made it myself last week. Remember that I said that one of my familia's specialties is the art of sealing, said Arashi. What? You created it? Sorry. I didn't expected to see somebody able of this skill again. No wonder why your wife chose you when she could have any man she wanted, being royalty and all, said Lady Miho. What? Mom was from royalty? Why you didn't tell me? Asked Naruto to his father. Shit. Now I'll have to tell him everything about your family. Just what his ego needed. Thank you, old hag, sighed Minato. Don't worry Min-kun, he won't turn into a spoiled brat, he is better than that. And take account that it was going to revealed sooner or later, said Kushina. And Naruto's mom was from royalty? Thought Hinata. Yes, I told you that she was from an important family, but I didn't clarify how important it was, said Arashi to Naruto. The ex-Kage explained Naruto about the Uzumaki clan and its ties with Konoha, including the distant relationship with the Shadaime, the Nidaime and Haku's clan. For a few seconds nobody said a word, then Naruto got up. Vow. That means that Haku and I are almost cousins. I can't wait to tell him, exclaimed happily. Why the hell he is not overwhelmed at the knowledge that he is a distant relative of 2 Hokages? Thought Lady Miho. That means that Naruto is practically a prince, especially with his father being the Yondaime, thought Hinata dreamily. She was a princess? Why she married you? Are you a prince too? Asked Hanabi with stars in her eyes. No, little one. I'm just the only survivor from a secret ninja clan, responded Arashi tapping her head. A secret ninja clan? Asked Neji. Yes, perhaps I'll better tell you the history of my clan and why we were unknown until now, said Arashi. Perfect. Just the reason why we invited them, thought the elders. Everyone stopped eating when Arashi began to tell the history of his clan. My clan chose to keep hidden when Konoha was founded, only the Hokages knew about us. Before the founding of the villages many ninjas clans were disguised as civilian families. Most members of my clan had a double life as civilians and another one as unregistered ninjas while others were in the Anbu. We avoided notoriety for 2 reasons. One was to protect our bloodline. If people didn't know about it then it wouldn't be treated. Another one was that fame would make our possible enemies research about us and our techniques and eventually find a way to counter them. Anonymity is one of the best allies of a ninjas. In fact my clan used to change its name with frequency to impede research about us. Usually they took the family name of their couples when they married someone outside the clan. You did the same when you took your wife's last name, thought Lady Miho. As you know, before Konoha and the other major villages were founded, ninja clans had their own rules about how to train their members as ninjas. They also had their own examinations for ranks. The exams were different from each other clan, so a ninja skilled enough to be a chunin in a certain clan perhaps wouldn't be worth a jinan for another. For that reason many people thought that the most strict clans were the best, said Arashi. That's the truth, thought the Hyuga elders in unison. Arashi continued. My ancestors created a series of rules and traditions in order to become the archetypal ninjas. Said rules were even worse than that seal thing that you Hyugas do to your own members. What's the problem with the seal? Thought most elders. At the moment a kid was able to walk, he or she was introduced in the use of weapons, daijutsu, chakra control and ninja skills. At 6, most kids in my clan were already at jinan level, the same of a freshly graduated student from the academy. Our members just didn't have a normal childhood. Naruto felt bad. His ancestors could have passed the exam when they were younger than him, but he reminded that at the eyes of his father he was now a ninja. Underneath his pocket he rubbed the forehead protector without symbol that his father gave him. You could think that it is not so extraordinary. The Uchiha and the Hatake clans had similar ways to raise their children. But our blood limit let my ancestors access to a new level of severity. Because any wound would be healed in a few hours without sequels, the adults didn't have to hold back when they trained their children. They didn't use dull weapons and they didn't contain their attacks in spars. In fact, they fought their children like they were fighting against an enemy ninja. As long as they didn't kill the kid, the training was not considered excessive. Hiyashi felt a bit guilty. He didn't push Hinata to that point, but it reminded him how cruel he was sometimes with his own daughter. However, it was nothing compared with the next revelation. They believed that ninjas should be the perfect living weapons, that feelings were a birth defect, so they conceived the perfect method to turn us into the soulless killing machines. The kids of our clan were given cute little animals like doggies and bunnies to keep them as pets. When the kids had a bond with their pets they were ordered to kill them with their bare hands in order to harden them for the shinobi life. Minato reminded when he had to kill his beloved pet bunny following his clan's traditions. When he told Naruto about it, his son asked if he would have to do something like that in the future. Minato rushed to tell him that said tradition was now banned. Then came the worst part. However, there was a worse method to harden the members of our clan. What it was? Asked Lady Miho. Arashi took breath. He was really ashamed for what he was about to say, but he had to tell it to his son's future political family. When the clan heirs had the appropriate age they had to kill in a ritual combat a direct familiar in order to turn them into the perfect ninjas. If they were able to kill somebody from their own blood, then they were ready to take any orders from the current leader of the village. Hinata frowned. How could someone like Naruto or his father came from a clan like that? At the end it was the bane of the clan. One of the few good traditions of the clan was that the clan couldn't force its members to marriage against their will. Most members chose to be single so they wouldn't have to force their children to pass through the same as them. Those who had children had to raise their future killers. Parents didn't love their offspring and the children were raised without somebody they felt as family. For that reason there are not more members from our clan. At the end only 2 members of the clan remained, my father and me. My father was different from the rest of the clan. He made an unthinkable crime against the clan. He dared to love his son. Naruto wanted to hear that part. His father never explained him what happened to his grandfather. Arashi felt a horrible pain when he reminded his father, but he also felt very proud. He used to hold back in our spars and never demanded more than I could offer, but never less. He was severe but fair. Sometimes he came to my room to cover myself when he thought that I was asleep, and he gave me occasional prizes after spars. I also noticed that he felt sad for me when I had to kill my pets in order to hard myself. Then came the day when I had to kill him to fulfill the tradition of the clan and become the clan head. I felt like a monster when I headed to the room where I would kill him. When I got there, I found him stabbing himself with a katana. Then he told me that then there was no way that I could become the new clan head, so I was expelled from the clan. With his death the clan was destroyed, and from that moment I was free to create a new clan with better traditions, a clan that would be a real family. With his sacrifice he freed me and my future family from that cursed traditions. Naruto felt proud of his grandfather and felt closer to his father now that he knew that both of them didn't have a proper childhood. Hinata and Hanabi were in the verge of tears. The Hyugas thought about Arashi's words. After hearing what the people from Arashi's clan did to their own family, many of them thought about what they were doing to the branch members and began to feel guilty about it. Inside Minato's mind, Kushina was crying. Her husband couldn't give their son the family he deserved. She also was sorry for not having the chance to meet her father-in-law and thank him for what he did for Minato. Minato then showed her some memories of the other world. When he reunited again with his father, his sacrifice made him a hero and they finally had the chance to behave like father and son. Nobody said anything for the rest of the dinner until Arashi told them about the adventures that he had while he was in the Western lands. Most of those stories were true, the only differences were that those adventures happened in the other world and skipped that he also had the previous Hokages, Sakumo and Hizashi at his side. Everyone was interested about the West, the sort of warriors they had there and their customs, especially the younger ones. Lady Miho said that he was exaggerating when he told them about the power of the wizards or the healing powers of the priests. At Tsunade's level, they also told me about a custom that I think they shouldn't have abandoned, said Arashi. What custom? Asked Lady Miho, trying to tease him. They used to burn witches, responded Arashi. Everyone looked at the old woman. Before she could say anything, Hanabi looked at her father. Tosan, is Uzumaki-san going to cook Miho-ba-chan? Asked. Kushina was in the floor laughing. The old woman looked at the little girl with a look that promised murder, but she calmed down and talked to her. Why do you ask something like that, Hanabi-chan? Asked with a forced smile. Because when Towson and the elders refer about you, they talk about that damned witch, said Hanabi. Naruto and Kushina laughed their asses off. Hinata giggled soberly while Neji and Arashi had smirks in their faces. The only ones who didn't laugh were Hiyashi, the elders, and Lady Miho, who glared at them with her Byakugan activated. The rest of the dinner continued without incidents, and Arashi thought that it was time to leave. The ex-Kage headed to Hanabi, showing his intentions to pinch her cheeks again. In her infantile mind appeared an image of Naruto's whisker marks, then said infantile mind deducted that Naruto had said marks because his father pinched his cheeks too much. No. I don't want to look like a doggy, exclaimed the little girl, escaping from the room. What a curious girl, commented Arashi before heading to Hiyashi. He gave a scroll to the Hyuga leader. I found this in my clan's library. It's something concerning your clan, said before heading to the door. Hiyashi's skin took the same color than his eyes when he realized what was the scroll about. The other Hyugas looked at him puzzled. Meanwhile, Naruto headed to Hinata. I enjoyed the dinner very much, Hinata-chan, especially your food. I hope that someday you will visit us too, said smiling. I look forward to that D-Day, said her, blushing. Naruto-kun invited me to his home, thought happily. Then to her surprise he got his face close to hers and gave her a kiss on each cheek. Oh wait. I forgot that I didn't have to follow that Western custom. He. Sorry, Hinata-chan, said him with his hand behind his head, blushing a little. Way to go, Naruto, cheered Kushina. Naruto and Arashi left the Hyuga compound, officially finishing their visit. That night, after reading the contents of the scroll, Hiyashi decided to agree with the plan. After Naruto's kisses, the poor Hinata was paralyzed for the rest of the night and her sister had to drag her to her room. The clan had read the contents of Arashi's scroll for the 53rd time and sighed. We have no chance but to proceed with the plan for the sake of the Hyuga clan, thought while he headed to the door. Tell my daughter that I want to have a meeting with her, said to a branch member who was passing near. Hiyashi reminded the talk he had with his daughter after the parents' visit day. Flashback. Hinata, I noticed that your Juken moves during your matches were visibly different than the ones I taught you. I'm also very surprised to see that you managed to defeat all your opponents without much problem using them. Can you explain it? Said. Hinata looked at him nervously. She was fearing that question since she fought in the tournament with her new style. The girl told her father about the test with the chakra papers and how it was found that she had water affinity. Then she showed him the scrolls that Arashi gave her as a gift for mastering the Hizashi. Hiyashi felt a bit guilty. He pushed a lot his daughter in order to make her proficient with the standards of their family's fighting style, and it happened that it was not her fault, because for a water used is almost impossible to use earth jutsus. Obviously, it was not the same with a fighting style created by earth users, but it explained why Hinata had so many problems with her training, and it was his fault to not have noticed that. He thought that his daughter was incompetent, a failure. The most he thought about it, the worse he felt. He looked at Hinata and the scrolls. You know, I should take these scrolls to the Hyuga secret library, but they were a gift for you and it will benefit more the clan if you learn from them. Just make sure to keep them safe and keep improving the Juken variation. You made me very proud today and I hope that you'll continue doing it now that we know the proper way to train you, said the man with a slight smile. Thank you very much, father. I'll do my best, responded Hinata, visibly relieved. I know you will, Hinata. Now why don't we exchange roles and teach me the jutsu? And flashback. During the last days she and Neji taught to members of both families about the jutsu. He felt really proud when he found that Hinata was better than his genius nephew in teaching. He also noticed that Neji was not as distant as before and his previous disliking to the main family almost disappeared now that he knew the truth. Damn it, why we have to do that? Now that things started to go smoothly in the clan, thought. His thoughts were interrupted by Hinata, who got into the room. "You wanted to talk to me, father?" asked the girl. "Yes, it is something the clan. Please sit down because you'll need it," said her father. Hiyashi looked at her daughter in the eyes. "I shouldn't tell her, but she deserves to know where are we going to put her. I'll better be direct," thought. "Hinata, what do you know about Naruto Uzumaki?" asked Naruto-kun. "He is a boy about my age, from my same class. He is a bit loud but likable and we thought that he was an orphan until his father came back and he wants to be Hokage." "Why do you ask?" responded her, asking herself why his father was interested in her crush. Hiyashi's face turned more serious. "Hinata, what I'm going to tell you is a class secret concerning Naruto, related to something that happened during the week he was born," said him. Hinata felt like her heart stopped. Her father was going to tell her about the Kyuubi. That only could mean that he wanted her to stay away from Naruto. She only could listen to Hiyashi's explanation about the sealing, how the Yondame's last wish was ignored and how the Hokage made a law in order to protect him. She also felt surprised at what he told her next. Hisashi wanted to adopt the boy, but the Hokage didn't want him to be a branch member, so at the end it was decided that he would be an orphan, so he was all his life alone until his father came back. Arashi didn't take very well the treatment his son received and now he is training him to become Hokage, continued his father. She couldn't hide her sadness. He was going to order her to avoid Naruto. Hiyashi thought that she was feeling bad for the boy. "Well, Hinata, what do you think about Naruto now that you know the truth about him?" asked him. To his surprise, she looked at him with a very serious look. "I think that the village is wrong. There's no way that he could be the demon. Those who think like that are stupid and those who know the difference between him and the fox but still avoid him fearing the Kyuubi are cowards who didn't trust the Hokages. Naruto should be seen as a hero. He has been protecting us from the fox every day," said without stuttering. Hiyashi felt surprised at her reaction. He never saw Hinata so vehement, but it was good, it would help with the plan. "I'm glad to see that you saw the truth too. People tend to hate those who are different. That's one of the reason why our clan established in Konoha. This village is more tolerant than other places. In fact, Naruto is disliked more for the Kyuubi seal than for the fact that he is a Jinchuriki. You should know that his father was a special ninja without rank specialized in dangerous missions. When he returned, he decided to become an official ninja and was tested to determine his rank and abilities," said her father. Hinata nodded, reminding the impressive matches that Naruto's father performed, especially the part when he fought with his jacket open. "As you know, he fought a Hyuga Anbu in his last match. What you don't know is that Anbu was me," said. But you were with me all the time," said Hinata. "No, he was Hono disguised as myself. You would be surprised if you find out who else is also in that division. But it's a secret," explained Hiyashi with a slight smile. "But let's go to the point. During our match he found out a way to turn our absolute defense, the Kaitan, against us using a technique from the Yondaime. I ended with half my body buried in the ground at his mercy. After the match, we made some research about the new Uzumaki clan. That night we had a meeting and approved a plan about the Uzumakis," said. Hinata didn't like how it sounded. Naruto's performance in the parents' visit day and the failed assassination attempt against them raised the support among the elders for the plan. "At first I didn't agree with the plan, I still don't, but the info in the scroll Arashi gave me left me with no choice but to keep on with the plan," said Hiyashi. "What does that scroll says?" asked Hinata. Hiyashi handed said scroll to Hinata. At first it looked like a contract between the Hyugas and a clan named Asamiya with the Nidaime as intermediary. Then she reached a part that said that the Asamiya would develop and teach the Hyuga clan about a seal in the forehead that would protect their bloodline from their enemies as part of the Hyuga's agreement to join Konoha. She reminded when Arashi said that his clan used to change its name for security and realized perhaps one of their former clan names was Asamiya. She couldn't believe it. Naruto's family created the infamous caged bird seal. Father. That means that Naruto's dad can activate the seal? Asked. No, he can. They designed the seal in a way that only those with Hyuga blood would be able to activate it. If it wasn't the case, our clan wouldn't have joined a village full of Uchihas who could have copied the hand sign easily and have us at their mercy, reasoned Hiyashi, but it doesn't change the fact that they know one of our greatest secrets. Because these and many other reasons we must proceed with the plan if we want to keep our clan as the strongest in Konoha. And you will be a vital piece for that. Oh my god. They are planning to destroy Naruto and his father, thought Hinata horrified. Before she could protest, his father continued. Hinata, you must seduce Naruto Uzumaki, said. And Nani? Babbled her. Hiyashi sighed and looked at his daughter with a guilty face. Now he will have to tell Hinata why she will have to sacrifice her happiness for the sake of the clan. We Hyugas are now the most powerful Konoha, but the presence of the new clan can endanger it. Because we wouldn't do something as stupid as trying to destroy them, we have decided that we will make them part of our clan by marriage. Hinata, I know that this can sound unbelievable, so I'll explain the reasons because we decided to do this, said Hiyashi. The heiress nodded, still shocked. Since she found that Naruto was the container of the Kyuubi, she feared that her family would oppose to any relationship she could have with him. But instead of that, they were asking her to pursue him. Hiyashi handed her one of the infamous pics of Arashi and Naruto training shirtless. The poor Hinata thought that they found the secret spot in her room. Father. That pic. It looks like somebody has been distributing images of them training. Please, take a closer look at their bodies, said Hiyashi. A part of Hinata was relieved when she found out that they didn't discover her photos. Another one asked herself why her father wanted to look at them, and a final one enjoyed the sight when she realized that she didn't have a copy of that image. Hiyashi was oblivious at her thoughts and continued talking. As you can see, they don't have any scars in their bodies. In the boy this is understandable, but in a veteran ninja like Arashi this is clearly impossible. Unless his blood limit healed him perfectly. Take also a look in this, said while he handed her a mission report. This is the report of the rescue mission that he made when the Yondaime was still alive. He saved Kusaki Michi, Inoiki Yamanaka and Shikaku Nara from an enemy base. The report says very clearly that he lost an eye in the mission. When he fought those three they thought that he was one-eyed and attacked him from what they thought it was his blind spot. But as you saw, he has two eyes completely functional. Hinata, what is the biggest fear for a Hyuga and for anyone with a eye-based blood limit? Asked. Hinata understood what he wanted to say. The biggest fear for us is to have our eyes damaged or useless, but the Uzumakis don't have to worry about that, said her. Exact. As Naruto explained, physical blood limits like his and eye blood limits like ours are compatible. Your children would have perfect Byakugan eyes that would heal completely if damaged. They would have the greatest potential ever seen, said Hiyashi. Hinata blushed a little when she thought about having a family with Naruto, but she didn't like that the clan saw both of them as breeding material. His blood limit was the main reason, but we have more. As you noticed, the Uzumaki clan has some impressive and very powerful techniques, like the technique to fly, the few Uten clones and of course their mastery and knowledge in sealing, but I think that Arashi has some other powerful techniques that he didn't show yet. If the Uzumaki clan becomes part of the Hyuga, all that techniques and secrets eventually will pass to the future Hyugas, said. Hiyashi then handed her a photo of a woman with very long red hair. Hinata recognized her from the description that Naruto gave her about his mother. She saw that he didn't exaggerate when he said that she was beautiful, especially with that long hair. She wondered if she could get a beauty product to accelerate her hair's growth. We knew that she was the last survivor of the rulers of Whirlpool Country, practically a princess. Later it was found that her family was related to the Senju clan, the founders of Konoha. I don't need to tell you that it makes Naruto almost from royal blood, said him. See, can I keep the photo? Asked Hinata. Her father nodded and finished to expose his reasons. Finally, the witch found out that they are really rich, but it is not as important as the former reasons, said smiling. His daughter giggled at the mention of Lady Miho. The old woman still was upset at Hanabi's remark. Everyone avoided her until she calmed down. Hiyashi then looked at her with a very serious face. Hinata, I would prefer to not force you into this plan. If you refuse, I'll tell the Hokage. There's a law that lets him intervene in clan affairs as long as the clan head agrees with him. It was created to prevent revolts within clans. I know that I was not the best father of the world and didn't treat you as good as you deserved. For that reasons I don't have any rights to ask you something like this, but if you agree with the plan, the benefits of your sacrifice will be the best thing that happened to the clan since its creation, said him. Hinata felt touched. Her father was disposed to defy the elders for her happiness, to put her before the clan. She was tempted to jump to his arms and tell him that here was no problem, that she already loved Naruto and ending with him was one of her greatest dreams. However, she opted to keep her feelings for Naruto for herself. If her family thought that she was making a sacrifice for them, it would improve the respect that they were starting to have for her. I'll do it, Tosan said. What? Asked him surprised. I'll do it. I will seduce Naruto-kun. As the heiress of the clan, is my duty to do sacrifices for our family. And Naruto. He is a great person, he works very hard and never gives up. I think he would be a great husband and father, said blushing a little. If Hiyashi wasn't so worried about Hinata, perhaps he would have found out that she liked the boy, but he didn't. One of the few things that the Uzumaki and Hyuga clans had in common was that their men very really oblivious about females. Hinata's mother had to shout to Hiyashi in the face that she loved him. Minato didn't found that Kushina was a girl until a year after they first meet, and Naruto thought that Hinata got sick frequently. The Hyuga leader looked at his daughter with a mixture of sadness and pride. He put his hands on her shoulders. "Thank you very much, my daughter. I'll never ask you a sacrifice like this again. Who knows, perhaps you could be happy and all," said, smiling a bit while Hinata blushed at his comment. Then he looked at her more seriously. "We shouldn't sell the bear's skin before catching him. I think that you won't be the only one after Naruto, and you will have competence from other girls. The secret about Kushina Uzumaki being from royalty won't keep us that for too long. The council is full of gossipers. People is starting to look at Naruto beyond the Kyuubi, especially with his progress in the academy and the other reasons I told you. He will be one of the most tempting bachelors in a few years. I bet that girls will start to flirt with him soon," said Hiyashi. Hinata paled. With other girls after the boy she liked, it would be almost impossible to make Naruto notice her with her damned shyness. However, I think that Arashi probably would have warned Naruto about those girls interested in him, so you'll better take a better path to get him, said Hinahi. Hinata got all her attention on her father. "It will be better if you manage to be his friend instead of acting like a stupid fangirl so he won't find out about our intentions. It will also help you to get used to him. You are very shy. For example, you could offer him your help in his training with spars and the like, so he will see that you are interested in being a strong kunoichi. At the time both of you graduate and start your ninja careers, you will start with the seduction itself. You should be subtle with that, for example inviting him to lunch as friends after a spar, or better, making yourself the lunch. Before he notices it, he will fall for you," said Hiyashi, reminding what Lady Miho told him. Hinata felt relieved when she knew that she didn't have to start flirting with Naruto immediately. She wasn't ready for that part yet. She told herself that there was nothing bad with the strategy because she already loved Naruto. I understand, Tosan. I'll do my best to be Naruto's friend by the moment," said. "Very well, and thank you again, Hinata, you made me very proud. You can leave," said Hiyashi. Hinata left the room thinking about the talk with her father. He didn't notice that she took the Naruto pic with her. Next day Arashi headed to the Hokage's office. The leader of the village sent him a message in order to discuss an idea he got after Zabuza joined the leave. On his way to the Hokage's tower he noticed that most villagers were visibly more respectful than before. A pair of them almost bowed to him. "As I thought, word has spread about your true heritage, my love. It makes me sick how they give that importance to these things instead of the true merits," commented Minato. "Yes. That's the reason, because I kept it secret. I just wanted to be treated like another person when I arrived Konoha. But look at it in the good side, Naruto will find this treatment much better than the former, and when he becomes Hokage this will be natural," said Kushina. Some of them seemed really regretful, thought him. Well, they just realized what they did to one of the few relatives left of the first Hokages. "I can't wait to see again their faces when they discover that Naruto is the Yondaime son," commented Kushina, reminding when it was revealed that the revived Yondaime was the father of the Kyuubi container and Nutoad sage. The poor Naruto couldn't walk without people kneeling at him asking for his forgiveness. He was already considered a hero when I revived. I wonder if Naruto in this timeline will manage to do that before I reveal my true identity, thought Minato. "He'll do it. Don't worry about that," said her. He got into the Hokage's office. The old man was waiting for him. "Good day, Sundaime-sama," greeted Arashi. "Good day, Yondaime-sama, take a seat," responded the Hokage, pointing at his own chair. "Don't call me that. I don't care how much you insist. I won't take back that job." "Talking about jobs, what do they think about my offer?" said Minato. "I had to try it," joked the Sundaime. "I had a talk with each of them about your idea of forming a special squad for dangerous missions. With you as the leader." He showed him Kakashi's file. Kakashi agreed immediately. "He is not very good expressing his feelings, but after you came back I never saw him so cheerful. He spends less time in the Memorial Stone, and now that he is taking care of Sasuke and training him, he seems like he got rid of a great burden." "Do you know why, Minato?" asked. The blonde nodded. "When I came back I told him about my stay in the other world, specifically about his father. Kakashi almost cried when I told him how proud Sakumo was for him when he heard about his son's feats in the world of living, especially when Sakumo found out that Kakashi began to value his teammates more than the rules. Perhaps I should tell him too about his love life in the future," commented with a smile. The Hokage took a file referring to Zabuza. He asked if Guy was going to be in the group. When I said no, he agreed immediately, said, "That's curious. I saw both of them training Iruka together, thought Minato. The next file was one referring to Captain Yamato. He can't wait to have missions with you, as you know he has the same bloodline as the Shodaime Hokage. He wants to learn about him from you and he feels very honored for being in the same group as you, remarked the Sundaime. I almost forgot that he is one of the few who knows about my true identity and the truth about my return. Are we going to have a Hyuga with us as I requested? Asked Minato. Yes, he will be the same one who fought you in that test, Bear. Hiyashi trained him personally and I guarantee you that he is one of the strongest shinobis of the village. However, he doesn't want to reveal his true identity. I suppose that it won't be a problem for you, won't it? Asked Sarutobi. No, there's no problem about that. In fact, it will give me an excuse to keep my own mask, remarked Minato. The Hokage looked at the different files. Kakashi, Zabuza, Yamato, Bear, and Arashi. You are trying to make a new version of your team in the other world, don't you, Minato? Pointed. The Ondaime nodded. Yes, Kakashi is like a younger version of Sakumo, they think the same way and have similar tactics. Zabuza, like the Nidaime, is a swordman and a powerful water user, not at Dobarama's level, of course, but powerful. Yamato will the Shodaime's version for the team. According to the files and my own experience with Hashirama, Kenzo is not as powerful as him, but his powers will be invaluable for us. Finally, with Bear, we will have all the advantages of the Byakugan and the Juken, said, and in top of that they will have the mysterious Black Angel of Konoha leading them. They have a great potential. Are you going to give them some previous training before your first mission? Asked the Sundaime. Minato nodded. Of course, at the moment we are just some high-level ninjas. When I finish with them they will be able to face Akatsuki members in 1 versus 1 fights. The training will be hard, in fact was tempted to ask for Guy's help, joked. In other parts of Konoha, said men felt shivers on their spines. Meanwhile in the academy during these last days the notices about Naruto defeating missing nins and his mother's heritage were made public knowledge in the academy because they were not declared high secret and gossiping was one of Fire Country's favorite sport. Everybody shut up at the moment Naruto got into the classroom. Now they didn't know how to react about him. Shino, Shikamaru and Hinata broke the ice congratulating him for his skill. Soon the blonde boy was surrounded by his classmates asking him for details about the battle. Lucky for him Shikamaru and Shino prepared a cover story that didn't involve the Kyuubi and Naruto just had to nod most time. He was bothered until a bandaged Iruka put order among the students. During class Naruto felt uneasy, since he got there he felt like someone was observing him. It was not like the stares that he had to endure before his father came back, there was not hostility in this one's. He found out soon that he was now the center of about a third of the girls from the class. Naruto's fangirls were no longer hitting their condition. Sasuke looked at Naruto and realized that he wouldn't be able to defeat Itachi unless he was stronger than Naruto. Surpassing the idiot will be a step in his way to avenge his clan. He smirked when he noticed that the blonde now had fangirls. Poor Naruto, you don't know what awaits you. Soon you'll know the curse that is having fangirls surrounding you, thought. Hinata also noticed Naruto's new popularity with the other girls and she didn't like it. Unlike her, they were after Naruto for his bloodline, heritage and those details about him that were unknown months ago, they didn't like by himself. She didn't like that her family believed that she was after Naruto because the same reasons as them, but she didn't have too much choice. If she had refused to follow the plan, her father would have confronted the elders and it would have caused a turmoil in the clan and as their heirs she had to prevent it. She hoped that Naruto with his personality would change the Hyuga clan for better. After thinking about that she realized that there were not many chances for Naruto ending in the Hyuga clan. Unlike her family, she knew that his father was the Ondaime Hokage and he wouldn't let his only heir and his secrets go to another clan. Unlike Naruto, she had a sister that could take her place leading the Hyuga clan in the future. And there was Neji. His connection with the Hyuga founders was the same as her and their fathers were twin brothers. Blood tests would tell that Neji and her were siblings with the same father and different mothers. He was older than her and he is considered the most talented Hyuga in generations. He was the one who deserved to be the heir, not her. But she was making too much speculations. First she had to become Naruto's girlfriend and the other girls were in their way. She tried to talk to him during break time, when he was alone, but there were always some girls around him all time. When the classes finished, she headed to home depressed. She didn't have any chance to talk to him. In another reality Hinata would have accepted her fate, but in this one she made a promise to be strong and be with Naruto for the incoming hard times. Something clicked on her head. How that interested slut stare to flirt with my Naruto-kun? Screamed a inner voice. No, it's not a inner Hinata, That's just part of Hinata's personality. She never was jealous before. Hinata vowed herself to put those harpies in their place and headed her home with renewed pace. Time skip, it was about time, don't you think so? 2 months passed since that day. In that interval some changes happened in the village. After an inhuman training that lasted 2 weeks, Arashi thought that his new elite team was ready for their first mission, kill a crime lord surrounded by A-class missing nins, a simple one for them. After that first mission, others of similar caliber came. All of them were accomplished in record time with the members of the team almost unscratched. Yamato and Zabuza learned some powerful Makuten and Suten jutsus from Minato. It was not strange that he memorized the hand seals of most the jutsus of his predecessors after being more than a decade fighting in the same team as them as daily basis. Kakashi learned some tricks that his father taught Minato that combined with his huge arsenal of jutsus made him more lethal than ever. They also started a research in order to improve Kakashi's Sharingan to the main Jinkai level. Bear, Hiyashi, learned some of the techniques that Hisashi developed in the other world following Arashi's descriptions. He was told that Hisashi developed them when he was alive. The most impressive was an improved version of the Kaiden that let him advance as a peg top, obliterating any obstacles, turning their ultimate defense into a powerful attack. The new group of masked ninjas became famous in the ninja as one of the most fearsome squads from Konoha. At first Naruto didn't like the idea that his father had to leave, but he accepted it as part of a ninja's life. Minato didn't like the idea of leaving Naruto alone during his absences, so he put him under Ebisu's care, other who knew the truth about Arashi Uzumaki. Kakashi did the same for Sasuke, and the Tokubetsu Jonin ended looking after 3 kids with the biggest egos in Konoha. Naruto took advantage of the situation and asked Sasuke to train with him in order to start a friendship with the Uchiha. Sasuke accepted in order to become stronger, and before they noticed it, a small friendship formed between them. Konohamaru couldn't decide who was cooler, Naruto or Sasuke. The young Sarutobi decided to surpass both of them. Sasuke taught him his signature Kaden jutsu while Naruto taught him the sexy no jutsu, but he couldn't perform them properly and realized that he had to take his training with Ebisu more seriously. Talking about training, Naruto started to learn from Kakashi how to detect and counter genjutsu, while Arashi taught Sasuke the secret of the Kaden Bunshin no jutsu, the secret Uchiha technique that he learned in the other world. Naruto asked his father to focus his training more in the art of sealing because he didn't want to make such a mistake like the one he had during the attack. The Cage Bunshin let him learn at astronomical speeds, and he managed to develop a new combat seal that impressed even his own father by its originality, simplicity and power. With Naruto's improvement, his friends started to take their ninja instruction as serious matter. Shikamaru and Shino focused in their physical training. Without a strong body they wouldn't be able to take advantage from their experience and skills as Haichai unins trapped in their younger bodies. Kiba became the dead last after the parents' visit day. His pride was seriously hurt and he worked really hard to leave that position, thing that he achieved with his mother's help. Kuji took Kiba's example and worked to not being the dead last. He didn't want to be the only of his friendship group that didn't progress. Ino and Sakura regained their friendship since they heard that Sasuke could practice polygamy. They started to train together in order to become powerful kunoikis when Shino spreaded the rumor that the Uchiha liked strong girls. Sai kept giving reports to Danzo about Naruto. The spy hoped that this mission would be a long one. He would never admit it to his superior, but he was starting to feel guilty for spying the Uzumaki kid. The pale artist was regaining the feelings that he lost after years of conditioning en route. Someday he will have to choose between Naruto and Danzo, and he wasn't sure about the choice he will take. Hinata kept improvising her new water Juken style with satisfactory results. She also improved her friendship with Naruto when he asked her help when he was chased by his crazy fangirls. A few palm attacks and some glares with her Byakugan activated was all the necessary to make Naruto want to be near Hinata in the academy. Haku's friendship with Naruto improved a lot when they discovered that they were distant relatives, and soon they referred each other as cousins. Zabuza's son joined the last year class in the academy, although he was skilled enough to take the Chunin exam. During the first days everybody thought that he was a girl. He became friends with Tenten, who first thought that finally there was another skilled kunoichi, and Lee, who asked him out. After that incident he revealed to the entire class that he was a boy and decided to change his appearance, wearing his hair in a ponytail and wearing more masculine clothes. Tenten found out that he had an aiming able to compete with hers, and soon they had a friendly rivalry. Neji opened more to his classmates and became friends with Tenten, to her delight. Haku and Lee? Since the private talk that he had with Arashi Uzumaki, the young prodigy was now more sociable. Lee kept training with his new father and challenged Neji and Naruto whenever he could. The other boys won all the fights where Guy's clone decided to not use the drunken fist. He didn't make use of that resource in all his fights because he didn't want to become dependent of it. In the fights where he decided to take Tropa's sake, Naruto and Neji feared for their lives. One day Arashi got into Naruto's class. The boy headed to his father. "What's going on, Dad? Something happened?" asked Naruto. "Nothing bad happened, son. You won't have academy for some days. We are going to have training trip and we must go home to pack our thing," said Arashi smiling. "A training trip? Where?" asked Naruto excited. Arashi looked momentarily at Shikamaru and Shino before responding to Naruto, so quickly that only them noticed it. "The Hokage chose me as one of his escorts for his visit to the finals of the Chunin exams. We are going to Tsunade and Kankuro were in the reconstructed Hokage's office with Tsunade and Shikamaru for a meeting to discuss the best way to deal with the remaining forces of Akatsuki, with the Sanninins representing their younger brother, the Kazekage. They were waiting for the arrival of two persons. One was Minato Uzumaki Namikaze, the resurrected Yondaime Hokage and the legendary Yellow Flash of Konoha. The other was Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, son of the Yondaime Hokage, the new Toad Sage and the appointed successor of Tsunade, the future Rokudaime Hokage. Kankuro and Temari were a bit nervous at the thought of meeting one of the most legendary ninjas ever. The fact that he was walking among the living again after dying while fighting the Kyuubi made him even more legendary. They were not with Gaara when he and Naruto visited Suna. It was ironic the fact that the Jinchurikis of Sand and Leaf were both of them children of the Yondaime Kages of said villages and fellow Kages in the future. Gaara told them that Naruto's father was nothing like the Yondaime Kazekage. Their similarities ended in their title and their motivations to turn their children into Jinchurikis. Tsunade was busy with the paperwork. Now she had to add the Hokage monument to the repair duties after Minato vandalized it in his fury when he got more details about how the village respected his last wish. Temari was shining the metallic part of her battle fan. When she heard that Naruto created what was considered the most powerful wind jutsu ever and his father now had a mastery over wind that let him fly, she couldn't help but felt jealous and curious as a wind mistress. Perhaps they could show her their skills. She also noticed that Pineapple Head now looked more mature. When did he turn so hot? Well, she would have the chance to ask him about his life in the last months during the dinner at his home. Shikamaru noticed that Temari was watching at him on the sly. She crossed her legs, giving him a good sight of her thighs. Troublesome women. He was assigned to give Temari and Kankuro a tour to see the rebuilding works in the village. It wouldn't have been so bad if they didn't happen to encounter his mother. To the young genius' annoyance, Temari and her mother got along really well and soon they were gossiping like old friends, with his mother exposing embarrassing details about him. After the humiliating story about how he wet the sheets until he was 8, his mother invited the Suna sibling to dinner at home. If she tries to show them my baby photos, I'll become a missing nin, thought Hokage-sama, who was sent to bring them here. Asked Kankuro, trying to break the ice. I sent Shino. I ordered him to place a female bug on Minato in order to keep track on him, said Tsunade. Kankuro reminded his battle against the bug boy during the invasion. They still needed to have a rematch. The door opened and two persons got into the room. One was Aburame Shino, the other was the Yondaime Hokage. Godime-sama, I found and escorted Yondaime-sama here as you requested. I found him when he headed to a jewelry shop. Naruto is now in the hospital. He is unable to come here at the moment, said the Aburame. Tsunade looked at his antecessor. Why Naruto is in the hospital? And why were you heading to a jewelry shop? Asked Tsunade, visibly annoyed. She is still angry with him because his little stunt in the monument, thought Shikamaru. Minato showed Tsunade the necklace that she lost in a bet with Naruto, the Shadime's necklace. Naruto is in the hospital because a slight case of chakra exhaustion. He overdid in our training and broke the cord of the necklace by accident. I told him to rest a little, but he is as stubborn as his mother and kept with the jutsu until he managed to do it. He did it. He mastered the Hiraishin, said proudly. Shikamaru got up surprised. Wait a moment. The Hiraishin too? If he adds with the techniques that you taught him these months in the sage mode, that means that he has surpassed me, said Minato, finishing Shikamaru's phrase. Everyone stood silently for a moment. A person younger than them was now probably the strongest ninja and who ever existed. The pride that the Yondaime irradiated was almost touchable. Tsunade smiled. As soon as Naruto got out of the hospital, she will give him the remaining lessons about being Hokage. Perhaps she could retire before the end of the month. How is he? Asked Kankuro. He is fine. His girlfriend, Hinata, is taking care of him in the hospital. I never saw a Hyuga so kind in my life. Kakashi is getting used to his new eye and soon he will be able to come back to active duty. And you are? Asked Kankuro. I am Sabaku no Kankuro, Jonin of Sunagakure and the Kazekage's brother, said politely. Ah, yes, Shino told me about you. You are the one who didn't want to fight him in the Chunin exams and was later defeated by him during the invasion, said Minato. What? You didn't defeated me. It was a draw. And the reason why I refused to fight you was because I didn't want to show my abilities, shouted to the Aburame. Okay, I'll consider our match in the forest as a draw and your refusal to fight as a victory, said Shino. Before Kankuro could say anything, he was smacked by Tamari's fan. Kankuro, behave yourself before the Hokages, you are embarrassing Suna, said his angry sister. Tamari bowed to Minato. Please, forgive my brother's rude behavior, Yondaime-sama. Let me introduce myself, I'm Sabaku no Tamari, Jonin of Sunagakure and the Kazekage's older sister, said. You must be Shikamaru's girlfriend, don't you? Naruto told me about you and Shikamaru. You made a very lovely couple, pointed Minato smiling. Tamari and Shikamaru blushed at Minato's remark. Wait. We are not tried to say Tamari. Really? Perhaps a marriage agreement would strengthen the bonds between our villages, joked Tsunade. Troublesome blondes, thought Shikamaru, blushing even more. Boy, I'm sorry for you when Gaara finds out about this. Do you know that he has developed a jutsu named Desert Underpants just to deal with Tamari's suitors? Joked Kankuro. I think it will be better if we talk about that later, we have some things to discuss, said Minato. Yondaime-sama is right, said Kankuro. By the way, why are you dressed like that? You don't look like as in the textbooks, asked, pointing at Minato's black clothing. I got tired of being unable to walk across street without being stopped by a villager apologizing to me. These are the clothings that I wore in my Arashi Kazama identity. With the mask and the hood they don't recognize me, responded while he put them on. Boom. One of the walls exploded, everyone got on guard. A lone figure stood before them. With a stolen Sharingan in his left eye. Madara was ready for a final battle. And flashback present time, Suna Tamari woke up and headed to the kitchen to prepare a breakfast, cursing her luck again. Months ago she was the most respected Jonins of Suna, sister of the beloved Kazekage and the girl with most suitors in Suna, although they didn't last too long because the beloved Kazekage. But that Madara had to came and mesh things. She was again a fresh out the academy Jinan, sister of Gaara the monster and the least popular girl in Suna. But things weren't so bad. Now she had a chance to change the future, her past, into something better. Things will be better for Suna if she managed to prevent the failed Konoha's invasion. Unfortunately she would have to convince her father that it was a suicide plan when he would introduce her and her siblings in the plan 2 years later. She still didn't figured out how to prevent the war without becoming a traitor. Another good thing was that Kankuro came back with her too. At first neither of them knew that the other was also a time traveler, they had their suspicions until Kankuro pranked Tamari. Flashback, again. Kankuro and Tamari were walking home after a training session when the painted boy greeted somebody behind Tamari. Well. The genius Nara came to visit us, said. Shikamaru? Asked Tamari, turning back with a hopefully look. Gotcha. I knew that you came back too, Nei-chan. You should have seen your face when you turned back, joked the puppeteer before receiving a beating from his pissed-off sister. The poor Kankuro was in hospital for 2 days and Tamari was in a very bad mood for 3 days. Even Gaara thought that it was not a very good idea heading to her. And flashback that reminded the problem with their little brother. Gaara was again the bloodlust killer that plagued their nightmares. It was the worst part of their return. They thought that those days when they feared for their lives ended after Naruto beated some sense into their brother. They tried to approach him in a friendly way, hoping to recreate the bonds that they had in the future, but they failed miserably. Gaara closed his heart completely after Yashamaru tried to kill him. When they approached him, he thought that they were trying to fool him in order to kill him when they had the chance, as Yashamaru did. All they could do was being respectful to Gaara, with the difference that they were not afraid of him anymore. Finally there was another problem. Their father, the Ondaime Kazekage. When they saw him again, they didn't feel nothing. The Kazekage never treated them like a father. During their childhood he ignored them, he delegated their education to elite ninjas of the village in order to make them worth of being called his children. The Kazekage was the one who took the decision to turn their baby brother into a Junkariki only to have a powerful weapon. Not only that, but he also chose their mother to be the sacrifice needed for the sealing, leaving them without the only person who really loved them. Kankuro never mentioned it, but one of the reasons, outside his training, he wore the face paint was to not see his father's face whenever he looked at the mirror. Tamari finished her breakfast and headed to meet Baki for her daily training. On her way to the training grounds she noticed that a group of girls were giggling nervously looking at some pics that were sold by a merchant from Konoha. She was going to ignore them when one of them mentioned the Uzumaki name. Uzumaki? Asked herself while she headed to the merchant. Tamari spent the rest of the evening figuring out how to get in contact with her Konoha allies and looking for a good spot to hide her new Arashi Uzumaki's pics collection. Limited edition a training trip? Where? Asked Naruto excited. Arashi looked momentarily at Shikamaru and Shino before responding to Naruto, so quickly that only them noticed it. The Hokage chose me as one of his escorts for his visit to the finals of the Chunin exams. We are going to see the Chunin exams? Great. What are you going to teach me? Asked Naruto excited. His father ruffled his hair. I'll show you some special chakra control exercises. While you go home and prepare your bag, I'm going to buy some stuff and equipment that we will need. We are going to travel fast, so don't overload the bag with needless things. One thing more. You can bring any of your friends as long they are able to do the water walking technique and they have their parents' permission. We will meet at the gate in 2 hours, said while he left. As soon as Arashi said that, Sasuke got up and headed to the door. I'll see you at the gate, Naruto, said while heading to Kakashi's apartment. Sakura and Ino left, following the Uchiha's example. Before Iruka could do anything, a good portion of the students left the classroom. The Chunin teacher looked at the remaining students. Poor Yondaime-sama. He doesn't know what he is getting into, thought. 2 hours later when Arashi arrived at the gate his jaw almost dropped when he saw the group that was waiting for him. Hello Dad. Look, we won't travel alone, said Naruto smiling. At first Arashi thought that only Shino, Shikamaru and perhaps Sasuke would join Naruto and him in their trip to Suna, but he was wrong. The group was formed by people from Naruto's class, the last year's class and adults. From Naruto's class were Naruto, Shino, Shikamaru, Sasuke, Hinata, Kuji, Kiba, Ino, Sakura, and Sai. From the upper class were Lee, Neji, Tenten, and Haku. The adults were Hiyashi Hyuga, Mito Gai, Shikamaru's parents, Ino's parents and Kuji's parents. What the? Why there are so many people? Asked himself. Kushina giggled. Well, I think it's very obvious for the young ones. She looked at Sasuke who was being harassed by Ino and Sakura. Sasuke came because he wants real training. Ino and Sakura came after Sasuke. Then at Hinata. Hinata came because she is Naruto's friend, and she is after him too. Kushina looked at Kiba, Akamaru, Kuji, and Sai. Kiba came because his sister will be in the finals and he wants to see her. Kuji came because all his friends will go too, while Sai came because he is spying Naruto. She turned her attention to the members of the last class. Haku came because I bet that Naruto invited him and I think that Lee invited himself and dragged Neji and Tenten with him. About the adults. I don't know. Why don't you ask them? Suggested Kushina. Arashi headed to the adults who congratulated him. Arashi-san, we are very glad with your idea of organizing an excursion to Suna, although our children could have told us about it earlier so we could have helped you with the arrangements, said Yoshino Nara, Shikamaru's mother. I see. Shikamaru made them believe that it was an excursion so his parents would let him come with Naruto and me, thought Arashi while sending a slight glare to the boy. Well, I told them about it a bit late. I'm part of the Hokage's escorts. I'll travel to Suna before him in order to arrange his visit and I thought that it would be a good excuse to show the kids the world outside Konoha, lied the Uzumaki. Yes, their young minds will be amazed by the wonders outside Konoha, my friend, exclaimed Guy. Are we going to travel with him? Thought Hiyashi feeling shivers on his spine. I still don't know why you want to see Suna, there's only sand and it is really hot, complained Shikaku, and the food is worse, said Kuza. And we can't forget that people there are very apathetic, commented Inoiki. Remember that you promised us to take us to see another ninja villages. Apologizing for that incident, said their wives. What incident? Asked Arashi to himself. I think that they are referring to your slut summoning no jutsu, said Kushina reminding Minato's test. What? Are they still angry because that? And it wasn't their fault, thought him. Women don't forget those things, said Kushina giggling in a way that made Arashi have shivers on his spine. A fatty woman handed him an enormous bag. Hello, I'm Kuji's mother, here are some appetizers for the trip, said. Some appetizers? What do Akamikas understand as a big spread, thought horrified. It looks like Mrs. Akimichi finally left the diet and took the ways of her husband's family, thought Kushina. A blonde woman headed to him. Please, Uzumaki-san, make sure that my Ino-chan eats and drinks enough, she is with that stupid diet and it won't be good for her health, especially considering that she will travel through that desert and all, said Ino's mother. Aren't you coming with the kids to Suna? Asked Arashi, feeling overwhelmed. Oh no, we are not ninjas in training. We will take a different route with our husbands, so we won't be a burden for their training. By the way, here's a letter from the Hokage with extra orders, said Yoshino, handing him a note. Arashi read the note and looked at the other men with a pleading look that they didn't notice or they ignored. He sighed. This will be a longer trip than he expected. 2 hours later, the group of kids accompanied by Arashi's clones, Guy and Hiyashi, stopped in a tavern. You'll know later why the original one is still in Konoha. Arashi looked at the kids. Okay, first of all, how many of you are familiar with the tree climbing exercise? Asked. All of them raised their hands to his surprise. That's good. Now, how many of you can do the water walking exercise? Asked again. Everyone raised their hands again. What? How can it be? Asked himself. It is not very surprising, Min-kun. When Naruto showed them his ability in the Chunin exams in the other timeline, they increased their training to not fall back. The same happened again after the parents' visit day, said Kushina. They are truly the most promising batch of shinobi in years, thought Arashi, smiling. Wait a moment, Lee. You said that you can't use ninjutsu or genjutsu. How can you do that exercises? Asked Naruto. That's a very good question, Naruto-kun. It is true that Lee can't mold chakra, but it doesn't mean that he can't use it. For that reason he is able to do the chakra exercises, said Guy. Okay, I'm glad to see that all you meet the requirements for harder exercises. We will take an hour for rest. I suggest to take the chance to meet those who are not in your class. After that we will run until dinner time and we will camp. The real training will begin as soon as we reach the border of Wind Country, said. While the older kids introduced themselves to the younger ones, Arashi had a talk with Hiyashi, who was covering his forehead with a bandage. It must be a pain to pretend to be your brother while you are not in Konoha, isn't it, Hisashi? Asked in a gentle tone. Yes, but it is something necessary. After the incident with Cloud, Hiyashi Hyuga is officially dead outside Konoha. At least I don't have to disguise myself with henge or something like that. I just have to cover my forehead and respond to a very similar name, said the Hyuga. He made a great sacrifice for the village. You don't know how much I must repeat myself that my friend didn't come back from the grave when I see you with that bandage, but it must be worse for Neji, commented Arashi. It was at first, but since Neji discovered how Hisashi defied his fate, he doesn't feel too tense whenever I have to do this facade, said Hiyashi. Don't worry, Hiyashi-san, Neji's youthful flames will burn all the resentment and soon he will see you as a parental figure, exclaimed Guy while he embraced both men. The adults kept talking while the kids from different classes met each other. Sakura and Ino felt very jealous of Haku for being prettier than them, especially when Sai remarked that all the girls were less feminine than Haku. The poor spy stayed unconscious the rest of the day and Tenten found out that the other girls were not only the fangirls they seemed to be. Later, they left the tavern and headed to the borders of Fire and Wind Country at fast pace, with an enthusiastic Lee taking the unconscious Sai as a form of extra training. They arrived at the border at sunset, when they almost all kids fell to the ground tired minus Lee, who said that the race was a good warm-up. After a scene of Guy praising Lee's flames of youth, and this time with a sunset, they took their dinner. This time Ino and Sakura skipped their diet. Next morning, now with the desert in front of them, Arashi looked at the group of kids. Okay, as you probably should know, Suna doesn't have an abundance of trees or water. For that reason most Sunanins don't know the tree climbing exercise or the water walking. However, they have something that Konoha lacks, sand and an extreme heat. Their ninjas developed 2 chakra exercises needed to survive in these conditions. Without these exercises somebody wouldn't survive too long in a desert without the proper equipment, said. Most of the youngsters gulped. They heard that Suna had harder training methods, but not that extreme. Naruto, Sasuke, Neji and Lee saw this as a challenge. Hinata was a bit scared but she didn't let it affect her, especially in front of her father. Arashi smiled. Don't worry, we won't get into the desert until all of you get some familiarity with the exercises. Let me explain the first one, said. The first exercise was similar to the water walking, but it was adapted for walking over the sand instead of water. It was consistent in focusing chakra to the feet and molded in order to create chakra rackets that would distribute their weight on the sand so they wouldn't sink in it. Arashi explained that this exercise was also used by the ninja of Snow Country for walking over snow. Sakura, Hinata, Neji, Tenten and Haku were the first ones to do the exercises. The others took more time but everyone finally made it after 1.5 days. Arashi looked at them smiling under his mask. Not bad. You have talent, I recognize it. Now the next exercise is the one that really will let you survive in the desert. The last one was only to ease your movement. The next exercise was harder. It consisted in the creating of a small chakra cloak that covered all the body. Its purpose was to protect the ninja from sunburns and the severe temperatures. If the ninja didn't have enough chakra control, he would find out that he was out of chakra. He also remarked that the best a ninja controlled this exercise, the best he would be protected from the sun. As example, he mentioned the fact that some Suna Shinobis wore war paint in their faces and they used the exercise to prevent the paint to melt as a form of training. Somewhere in Suna Kankura sneezed. As last time, Sakura, Hinata, Neji, Tenten and Haku were the first ones to do the exercises, but it took them longer to do it. Same happened with the other students. 2.5 days later everyone was able to use it. Then they began the journey through the desert. The most logical thing would have been tell them to use both exercises, but the adults decided that it was better to advance using only the protective cloak because most of them didn't have yet the chakra capacity or the chakra control to perform both techniques at the same time too long. The first day in the desert ended with most of the students very tired and minor sunburns. Sai, who previously was as white as a corpse, now looked like a tomato and Guy asked him if he was using the gates. Luckily for everyone, Hinata and brought some special bombs for sunburns made by themselves that let everyone's skin as a baby's. The second day Arashi suggested that those who were not so tired could take the other one's piggy ride as extra training. Ino and Sakura let themselves fell to the ground and asked for Sasuke's help, who ignored them. Both girls ended being taken by Naruto and Sai. During the rest of the day felt like somebody was glaring at her. Everyone knows who I am talking about. At the third day everyone had improved their chakra control and stamina. Unfortunately for Arashi, he had to endure the kids questioning him when they would arrive. Finally at the fourth day they reached Suna's gates, where the original Arashi and the parents of Shikamaru, Kuji and Ino were waiting for them. Arashi's clones dispelled themselves and he received their memories. After having to deal with the kids for almost a week, Arashi now had more respect for Iruka and Ebisu. Meanwhile a pair of figures dressed in black cloaks with red clouds began their own journey to Suna. Shikamaru, Ino and Kuji were greeted by their parents. The mothers hugged them while the fathers looked proudly at their children for accomplishing a feat like crossing the desert. The group headed to the hotel where they made the reserves. On their way Naruto noticed that the Suna women looked at his father giggling and bluesing a little while the men looked at him in a not very friendly way. "Dad, do you know why people in Suna look at you like that? What happened these days?" asked. "I don't know. I was under a henge last days. Today is the first day I walk in Suna without it. I think that my squad's fame has reached there and they must be curious about a member of Konoha's Hand of Death," said Arashi, oblivious of the true reason. Although the truth was that he was famous in Suna because certain photos, he was also known among Suna ninjas for other reasons. Being in the wind country, it was logical that Suna had the biggest proportion of wind users among the ninja villages. They had at their disposal some of the best wind jutsus. Many wind users tried to develop a way to fly using wind chakra, but all attempts failed. The knowledge that a foreign ninja accomplished that dream was like a kick in the balls for their pride. To add more salt on the wound, it was also found out that this Black Angel guy also could create clones from air, something that many of them thought impossible. So it was not a surprise that word about the Black Angel and Suna got into the Kazekage's ears in a few minutes. "Baki, we should keep an eye on that man. We must find out why Konoha kept a ninja of that skill in secret and decided to show him now. During last months our stupid daimyo is reducing the amount of missions assigned to us and giving them to Konoha. A wind user of that skill in Konoha won't help us to get back the daimyo's trust. Perhaps we should have to deal with this Arashi before he becomes a more serious threat to our economy," said the Kazekage. They reached the hotel. "Okay, I would have wished that we could have more rooms, but with the finals of the Chunin exams the available rooms were very limited, so we will have to share rooms," said Shikaku. The Nara, Akimichi and Yamanaka couples had a room for each one. Nobody complained about that. Sasuke, Sai and Kuji would be in another room. Because Hiyashi was posing as his deceased brother, he and Neji would be in the same room. It was strange seeing how the elder Hyuga called his daughter Hinata-sama. Arashi and Guy would be sharing a room and Arashi realized how he loved to sleep outdoors. Naruto, Shikamaru, Shino and Haku would share another room. Ino, Sakura and Tenten would have the final room for them. Ino made sure that the girls would be in the best one available, but they almost cried when they were told that they would have a limited amount of water for the shower. "What? I have half the desert on my hair and I'm soaked in my own sweat," complained Ino. Tsume Inuzuka, Kiba's mother, went to Suna weeks ago in order to give extra training to his daughter when she heard that Hana was in the finals. Kiba and Akamaru headed to the hotel where they were staying to give them a surprise. After days in the desert, the quick showers turned out to be a blessing for everyone, and their respect for their sand allies improved a lot. After dinner, all kids realized how tired they felt and went to bed. Next morning, Arashi, Guy and Hiyashi headed to the desert to meet the Hokage's delegation. The wives dragged their husbands to the market zone. The Wind Country had some important trade agreements with lands across the sea, and because Tatsuna's market was full of exotic goods. Ino, Sakura and Tenten joined them. Tenten wanted to see the exotic weapons, not the dresses. The rest of the kids divided into different groups to see different parts of Suna after deciding to meet later in a playground they saw near Suna's academy. Shino, Shikamaru and Lee headed to the Residencial district looking after their friends from the future. Although Lee didn't know why they were heading there, he insisted to go with them because he thought that the younger ones should be accompanied at least by someone of the upper class. Naruto, Hinata, Kuji and Haku decided to look after a good ramen place after you, Uchiha-san, said Neji. Please, you first, Hyuga, responded Sasuke. What's going on with those two? Asked Naruto when the group saw. It's the old rivalry between our clans. Because both of them are considered prodigies of the clans, they consider each other a rival, said Hinata. Well, they must remember that I'm their main rival, said Naruto seriously. Don't forget Lee, he is rival of both you and Neji, cousin, said Haku. Yeah, I wonder how will Shino and Shikamaru cope with him, commented Kuji. Meanwhile, the notices of the Black Angel and Suna reached a pair of siblings. Temari. Have you heard it? Naruto's father is in Suna. We must get in contact with him and decide what to do in order to prevent the invasion, said Kankuro. He is there? Let me take my fan and let's get out to look after him. Perhaps he could help guard with his seal, said Temari. They said that he was seen with a group of academy students from Konoha. I bet that your boyfriend came too, remarked Kankuro with a sly smile. Shikamaru is not my boyfriend, exclaimed Temari furious, threatening him with her weapon. Yeah, sure, said the puppet master while he dodged a blow from his sister. They decided to check at the hotels, but the idea was discharged when they saw Shikamaru, Shino and Lee passing by the street. Shino greeted them while Shikamaru got a half smile when they saw the siblings. Temari looked at Shikamaru and she noticed a smirk in Kankuro's face. I see. They are not the real ones, they must be puppets disguised as them. You are trying to prank me again, don't you, little brother? Well, you'll see who will be the fool now, thought the Sand Kunoichi. She headed to Shikamaru. They noticed that Temari was visibly taller than Shikamaru now that he was barely 11 years old. Oh, you look so cute, Shikaken, squealed in a very un-Temari way. Everyone's sweat dropped at her weird attitude. Shikamaru was going to protest when she hugged him, gave him a kiss on the cheek. Who or why you and what have you done to Temari? Asked the Nara blushing. She finally realized that he was the real Shikamaru. What? Are you the real one? Isn't this one of Kankuro's pranks? Babbled her. The puppeteer found out the truth and exploded in laughs. Bwah ha 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 ha. You thought that it was one of my pranks and wanted to prank me back? Bwah ha 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 ha, said while he rolled in the floor laughing. His laugh ceased when he felt a murderous killing intent coming from his sister. Shut up. This is your fault. If you didn't prank me before I wouldn't have done that, roared the girl. Then she proceeded to beat the shit out of Kankuro. When she finished, she looked at the Konoha boys. This is what awaits you if word spreads about this. Gotcha? Said her. The boys nodded. Excuse me, miss, but I noticed that you seem to know Shikamaru from before. How that's possible? Asked Lee. We were friends by correspondence, lied Shikamaru. Why don't we talk about it at home with a cup of tea? Proposed Kankuro. Everyone nodded, then Kankuro drugged Lee's tea so the time travelers could talk about the best procedure to stop the invasion. With Naruto, the young blonde lost himself when his group went to the market zone after they failed to find a decent ramen place. He decided to go to the playground and wait for the others. There were no other children there. A normal boy would be happy for having the swings and the other things all for himself, but for Naruto it reminded him those days when he was completely alone. He trembled when he reminded those feelings. Calm down, said to himself, those days are over. You are not alone anymore. He looked again at the playground. He noticed that there was an abandoned ball. What could I do? I'm no longer interested in these child games. I know. I'll play dodgeball with my clones. It will be also a good training, thought. He created a group of clones and he started a battle royale with them. Because he had the ball with him when he performed the jutsu, it was copied too. Soon the playground was full of smoke explosions, yellow balls and complaints of the clones who were hit before dispelling. The real Naruto saw a clone throwing his ball at him. He dodged the ball easily only to see that the ball was about to hit a boy who passed by there. "Watch out!" screamed. A wall of sand appeared before the red-haired boy and blocked the ball. Said boy looked at Naruto and his clones with annoyance. During last week's Sabaku no Gaara, was puzzled by his siblings' strange behavior. First, none of them seemed to be afraid of him anymore. In fact, they seemed to be sad whenever they looked at him, not fear anymore. Then they apologized to him for not being the older siblings that they were supposed to be for him. They asked for a chance to make amends with him. A part of Gaara wanted to believe them, to accept them. But Mother said that they only wanted to get his trust to attack him when he was off guard as Yashimaru did. He rejected them violently. After that he expected that they would act towards him as always, but they keep with their strange attitude. He was so embedded in his thoughts that he didn't notice the ball that was coming towards him, but his sand prevented any harm. More blood for Mother, thought Gaara while he prepared to trap the blonde boy with his desert coffin. Wow. That was cool. How did you do it? Asked Naruto. What? He doesn't know who I am? And why there are boys who look like him? They must be bunshines, but I didn't hear about any student able to create so many clones, asked Gaara to himself. Who cares? Crush him. Turn the sand red, said his mother. First we will. Their conversation was interrupted when Naruto threw another ball at him. The ball was blocked by the sand as expected. That's a real useful power. Does it work too against weapons? Is it a blood limit or something like that? Asked Naruto. You really don't know who I am, said Gaara. No. I'm from Konoha and I came there yesterday with my father and my friends to see the Chunin exams. My father is one of the Hokage's escorts and he thought it would be good to me to see the world outside Konoha, said the blonde boy. So that's the reason, thought Gaara while he prepared his sand to crush the annoying blonde. I'm Sabaku no Gaara, Naudi. Hey! I have an idea. Why don't you play dodgeball with my clones and me? With that power of yours and my numbers it will be really fun. Oh wait, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, future Hokage, said Naruto unaware of the danger while he offered his hand. Gaara was really confused. It was the first time that somebody wanted to play with him and was not scared of his power. It was true that this Naruto boy didn't know about what was sealed inside him, but to pretend to use its power in a game. Gaara reminded the days when he used to came to that playground to see the other children play and try to join them only to be rejected. Now he was being offered what he wanted as a child. Don't trust him, kill him now, said his tenant, but he ignored it. By the moment. Let's give it a try, said looking at the ball in Naruto's hands. During the next hour both Jinchurikis played various ball games, but they focused in dodgeball. Naruto's clones attacked Gaara with their balls but his sand shield made it impossible to make a hit. Gaara switched to attack. He used the balls he catched and some made of sand. Most of Naruto's clones dodged Gaara's attack but while some of them received the blows and dispelled, Gaara was not holding back on his attacks. What about this? Cage ball no jutsu, exclaimed the real Naruto. The blonde used the Cage Shuriken no jutsu with his ball to multiplicate it. Just at that time his clones attacked Gaara from multiple angles. However Gaara's sand formed a cocoon to protect him and he didn't receive any harm. Hey, why don't you try to dodge the attacks? The game is named dodgeball after all. If your shield acts it will count as a hit for me, said Naruto. Whatever, but no clones from your part, said Gaara. Naruto nodded and dispelled the clones. Now that Gaara had to move and don't let his shield protect him he began to add problems in the game. And he enjoyed it more. Naruto began to get points while Gaara noticed that the blonde now dodged slightly better his attacks. They played for another hour, unaware that some Suna villagers and ninjas were watching with a mixture of horror and amazement, asking themselves who was the mysterious boy who dared to play with Gaara. Then the boys stopped the game to take a break. Jeez. It was funny, at first I thought that you couldn't move like you did, but you have almost as much stamina as me, commented Naruto while he sat at Gaara's side. Gaara wouldn't admit it, but he also had a good time. In fact he never had such an enjoyable time in all his life. Finally they noticed the group that was watching them. One of the ninjas headed to Naruto. Boy, for why your own sake, keep away from Gaara, it is not safe to be near him, said to the blonde while he made sure to be out of Gaara's reach. What does this idiot want? Asked Gaara to himself. Why? Asked Naruto. The man shot a glance at Gaara and prepared himself to jump back in case of Gaara attacked him. You don't know the truth about Gaara. He is not human. Years ago the Kazekage ordered to seal the Ichibi on him in order to turn him into a weapon. But things were not as expected and he became a monster, said before retreating 5 meters. Naruto looked confused at Gaara. See, Gaara? Now he will start to look at you with fear and hate. Kill him, I'm the only one who cares for you, said Shukaku. Naruto finally realized who was Gaara. He is like me? Dad told me about him, he is supposed to become my friend and later the Kazekage after we fight in the invasion. He also felt the same loneliness as me. But his life was even worser than mine. And he didn't have any friends nor somebody as the old man, thought shocked. Naruto's confused face turned into a furious one. But unexpectedly he looked furious at the villagers, not at Gaara. Those are the same eyes that I had to look in Konoha, thought Naruto, making him even more furious. You're a bunch of idiots. Gaara is not a monster, he is just a kid like me. Can't you see? Roared. Gaara was utterly confused, why this kid was defending him. Boy, you don't understand what you were talking about, he is a killer said the ninja before being interrupted. No. You are the one who doesn't know what he is talking about. If you can't see the difference between the container and the content, then you are not worth of being a ninja, remarked Naruto. Then he looked at the group of villagers. And it comes for you too. You are just a group of scaredy cats. Now leave me alone with my friend, exclaimed. These last words shocked Gaara. Friend? He knows the truth but he doesn't care and he thinks about me as his friend, thought. The ninja was about to teach the blonde boy a lesson. But for a second he saw that the boy had red eyes with slitted pupils. In that second he realized that this boy enraged could be worse than Gaara himself. He also realized that Gaara wouldn't take very good if someone attacks who called himself his friend. The ninja decides to left scene and the villagers followed his example between whispers. Gaara looked at Naruto confused. Why, you really mean it? Aren't you scared of me? Asked. Naruto nodded. But why? How could you sympathize with me? Asked Gaara completely puzzled. Naruto looked at Gaara and gave him a sad smile. Because I know what you felt. I didn't lie when I said that you were a kid like me. You know I also have a demon sealed inside me, the Kyubi no Kitsune, said to Gaara sadly. None of the Jinka Urikis noticed that Naruto's friends arrived at the scene and heard the blonde's last words. Meanwhile the Kazekage came back from his meeting with the Sandaime Hokage. During the meeting he noticed the hostility that the Hokage's escort, the Black Angel, seemed to have to him. When he got into his chamber he noticed that there was somebody hidden behind the curtains. He was about to throw a kunai at the intruder and call the guards when he felt pain inside his head, caused by a seal that was placed there years ago. The Kazekage discharged the kunai and kneeled before the intruder, who got out from his hiding place. Master Sasori, welcome back to Suna, said the Kazekage.
That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.